We've all been there. A song, often one we didn't even like, suddenly takes root in our mind, repeating its chorus or a particular riff endlessly. This phenomenon, known as an earworm or involuntary musical imagery, is not just a mild annoyance, it's a fascinating glimpse into the mechanics of our memory and auditory processing. It's a spontaneous activation of an auditory memory, often triggered by something as mundane as a word, a sound, or even a mood. Imagine hearing a snippet of a commercial jingle, and then for the next hour, your brain is involuntarily replaying that jingle. This isn't a deliberate act of memory recall, it's more like a glitch in the system. Research indicates that nearly 98% of people experience earworms at least once a week, with some reporting daily occurrences. This isn't a sign of mental weakness, but rather a universal cognitive quirk. It's not about how intelligent you are or how much you focus, but about how our brains handle and store musical information. Think of it as a background process running without your explicit permission, hogging a small part of your mental bandwidth. Understanding why this happens isn't just about curiosity. It offers insights into how memory works, how music affects us, and even how our brains might be wired for pattern recognition. It's a subtle but persistent reminder of the brain's incredible and sometimes irritating ability to recall and replay information. From simple nursery rhymes to complex symphonies, no genre is immune to becoming an earworm, proving the democratic nature of this mental loop. The primary mechanism behind earworms lies in the brain's default mode network, DMN, and its interaction with auditory memory. The DMN is active when our minds are wandering, when we're not focused on a specific task. This is often when earworms strike. Our brains are constantly trying to predict and complete patterns. When we hear a piece of music, especially something repetitive or catchy, our auditory cortex processes it. If a segment of that music is particularly memorable or incomplete, the brain's predictive mechanisms may try to fill in the gaps, leading to the loop. This isn't just about simple repetition, it's about the interplay of novelty and familiarity. Songs that are just right in terms of being familiar enough to be easily recalled, but novel enough to hold our attention, are prime candidates for earworms. Think of a pop song with a simple yet distinctive melody and predictable chord progression. Furthermore, the brain's working memory, which handles short-term information and active processing, plays a crucial role. When a piece of music gets lodged, it's essentially occupying a slot in our working memory, constantly being refreshed even when we're trying to think of other things. This is why distraction often helps. It gives our working memory something else to focus on, dislodging the musical intruder. However, the song can easily return if the brain's resources become free again. The hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, key areas for memory formation and retrieval, are also involved, suggesting that earworms aren't just a surface-level phenomenon, but deeply rooted in our cognitive architecture. Not all songs are created equal when it comes to becoming an earworm. There are specific musical characteristics that make certain melodies particularly sticky. One major factor is melodic contour. Songs with simple, easily singable melodies, often with a rise and fall pattern that's predictable yet distinct, are highly prone to getting stuck. Think of the repetitive nature of many nursery rhymes or pop anthems. Another characteristic is repetition within the song itself. A catchy chorus or riff that is repeated multiple times throughout the track helps cement it in our memory. The more exposure our brain has to that specific sequence, the more likely it is to replay it spontaneously. Unexpected intervals or rhythmic patterns can also contribute. If a song has a slightly unusual jump in pitch or a syncopated rhythm that catches our attention, it can create a cognitive itch that our brain tries to scratch by replaying it. It's the unexpected twist that makes it memorable. Lyrical content, especially if it's simple, emotionally resonant, or tells a mini story, can also enhance a song's earworm potential. The interplay between memorable words and a catchy tune forms a potent combination that's hard to dislodge. Finally, a moderate tempo often seems to be ideal. Too slow and the song might not have enough energy to grab attention, too fast and it might be too complex for the brain to easily loop. The Goldilocks zone of tempo seems to be where most earworms reside, making them easy to hum along to, even involuntarily. It's not just the musical structure that determines an earworm. Our emotional state and the context in which we encounter music play a significant role. Songs often get stuck when we are in a state of low cognitive load, meaning our brains aren't busy with complex tasks. This is why they frequently appear when we're commuting, exercising, or performing routine chores. Our minds are free to wander, and the earworm fills the void. Stress, anxiety, or even mild boredom can make us more susceptible to earworms. The brain, seeking to regulate itself or find a distraction, might latch on to a familiar melody as a coping mechanism or a way to fill an otherwise empty mental space. The Zeigarnik effect, a psychological phenomenon where people remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed ones, also applies to music. If a song is interrupted, or if we only hear a snippet, our brain might repeatedly try to complete it, leading to an earworm. It's the mind's way of seeking closure. Association also plays a powerful role. If we hear a song in a strong emotional context, perhaps during a particularly happy or sad moment, that song becomes deeply linked to that emotion. Later, if we experience a similar emotion, the song might spontaneously resurface. Think of a song played during a memorable summer vacation. Years later, a whiff of sunscreen or the sight of a beach can trigger that song, even if you haven't heard it recently. Our brain creates a complex web of associations that ties music to our lived experiences, ensuring those melodies can easily be reactivated by the right environmental cues. So what do you do when an earworm has taken hold? While there's no foolproof method, several strategies can help break the loop. Engaging in a cognitively demanding task is often effective. Reading a complex book, solving a puzzle, or focusing on a detailed conversation can occupy your working memory, leaving no room for the earworm. It's like installing a larger, more important program that overrides the looping background process. Listening to the entire song can sometimes help, as it provides the brain with the closure it was seeking, satisfying the Zeigarnik effect. However, this can also backfire and reinforce the earworm, so it's a gamble. Another curious strategy is to replace the earworm with another, perhaps more tolerable song. Think of it as fighting fire with fire, or rather, fighting an earworm with a chosen earworm. This requires some self-control to avoid simply adding another layer to your mental soundtrack. Some research suggests chewing gum might help, as the motor activity in the jaw could interfere with the auditory loop in the brain. It's a low-effort solution that seems to work for some, though the exact neurological mechanism is still under investigation. Ultimately, earworms remind us of the brain's incredible capacity for memory and pattern recognition even when it's inconvenient. While we've made significant strides in understanding this common phenomenon, the exact neural pathways and the precise reasons why some songs are more potent than others remain areas of ongoing fascination and research. It's a testament to the enduring mystery of our own minds and the power of music.